Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Quick Save Podcast. I'm Josh.
I'm Alex.
And we're going to be talking about news. We're going to be talking about games. We're going to be talking about gaming news.
We're going to be talking about more gaming news after that.
All those things and more. Let's get it started off. We're going to talk about the Steam Deck. It's been about a month, maybe just over, since it released. When the time this comes out, it might be a bit later than that. But we're looking at about early April, about a month out of the release of the Steam Deck. What the heck is the Steam Deck, man? I never heard of this thing. Okay,
I never heard of it.
Okay, so it is kind of looks like a Switch if you fed the Switch really well. It is a beefy lad. But it is essentially a portable Linux PC.
Would you say it's chonky?
It is chonky. I've seen the images. I do not own one for reference, but I have done my research on this thing. It's a portable Linux-based PC. It starts as low as like $399. So they made 3 different models. $399 gets you the 64 gig model. $529 gets you a 256 gig model, and then a whopping $649. For reference, a PS5 at retail is supposed to be $500. $649 gets you 512 gigs. So
that's a rough number.
That being said, I mean, like a half of a terabyte computer that you hold in your hands, $649 seems maybe okay for that. I've been out of the laptop market for a long time, so I don't really know. I've
never even been in the PC gaming world to begin with. Now, there are some things I have heard about this out the gate.
Yes.
And that is, the fan is like super loud apparently.
Now we did some research here. I listened to a video where a reviewer plays the noise of just the fan. Kind of sounds like a PS4 fan. Just kind of a loud, kind of like zzz. I mean, there's like it's a hum. It's there.
I mean, but at the same time, this is literally what's supposed to be a PC in your hands.
I mean, you're holding like pretty much a Switch-sized laptop. It's literally an all-in-one tablet PC. It's a lot to run on this thing. I'm not surprised that the fan blows pretty hard.
The other thing I heard was its chonky size, that it's like super beefy.
It's big. Wider screen. Yeah, we like that. Big screen. A plus, big screen. It's thick. It looks, now I looked at the controllers, it seems kind of like thick, kind of like an Xbox One or a 360 controller. It has that kind of wide, rounded edge. So it seems, I think it weighs like 1.5 pounds, which is like a decent amount.
You don't think that would be that much, but like you're holding this thing up with your arms. Like a pound over time is going to be pretty heavy.
Yes. So there is a pretty big size, a difference there.
So like what, you did most of the research on this. What type of games can I play on this if I ever get one?
I mean, it just runs Steam. So straight up, I mean, if you got the 900 games like I do that you've accrued over years of Steam sales and Humble Bundles and what have you, it can do it all. All your weird indie stuff that's like 2 kilobytes downloads instantly. Or you can play AAA stuff. God of War on PC, right? Like all your, like even Deathloop, like PS5 game, right? Like
that's crazy.
Yeah, it's nuts. That being said,
now
on the AAA titles,
what I like to call myself, I'll say I call myself this. I'm a bit of a gaming historian, so I do a lot of backups. Could I play my backups on this thing?
Okay, well let me get to the AAA games and we'll talk about the legality of you playing your backups on this thing. One of the cons is also about these AAA games. So Valve is they put green badges on games.
Oh, it's Steam. Valve.
Yes. Oh, it's Valve. That's correct.
Oh, it's Valve.
Valve is putting badges on these games that are, quote, deck verified. So you can play them on your deck. Confirmed. Here's the issue. A lot of them don't run great.
Oh, no. It's Valve.
I mentioned Deathloop. There's been a ton of reports of framiness and slowdown in the game. Some games, I read one review that was talking about Horizon Zero Dawn and how it ran fine in the beginning, but after 6 or 7 hours, there was noticeable slowdown. So not everything works. Even like some smaller indie stuff I saw, like Slay the Spire, would not recognize like the controls.
You know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of all the worries that people had when they announced the Switch.
What I have to say to this end about it not working with every game, probably, especially at this price point, probably just wait for the Steam Deck 2, if such a thing will exist.
Steam Deck Pro.
Yeah, let them work the kinks out and kind of go from there. I mean, nobody hits it right on the first try, right? I mean, the Genesis had 3 models. The PS2 had technically 3 models. PS3 had 3 models. Xbox 360 had 3 models. It's always 3s other than PS2. Well, the PS2 still kind of had 3. But a lot of consoles always release like the Slim or the Pro or whatever, right? So if a Steam Deck 2 comes out, I would maybe I'll eye that more than this. This is definitely the trial run. If you play PC games nonstop, that's your whole life, this is perfect for you. A PC on the go. You can play all your Switch games.
Now,
we love that.
For complete transparency, I am not a PC gamer. I very much like my consoles, and I've gotten a lot of flack about it before in the past. But when I saw this announced, I was very intrigued. It's a very interesting concept to have essentially a handheld laptop in your hands that can play these AAA games, because I know definitely that there are gaming laptops that can play Witcher and Horizon Zero Dawn now that came out. I believe it came out on PC. I've heard of all this, but like this is now a compact bundle, which is much harder to do.
Right, and like I said, I don't know what a decent laptop looks like. I mean, I know for a decent gaming desktop, you're looking at like easily above $1,000 for something.
I believe my friend built his for $2,500, and that's him just buying like reasonably priced stuff.
Yeah, a lot of that stuff's gonna weigh up a price now. So I mean, at the end of the day, like portable laptop that plays all the games you want it to, pretty solid in my opinion. I mean, especially for half a terabyte. Pretty yummy amounts of storage, and I think you can put more in. Maybe I'm making that up. I don't know all the specifics, unfortunately. But let's get back to what you talked about, Mr. Gaming Historian. It runs Linux. That's good.
That's very
good. We
good.
can install many things on this, such as emulators if we wanted. Nintendo, please don't blow up the Steam Deck.
It hasn't done anything yet.
You can emulate.
It's still Nintendo free at the moment of emulation, as far as I know.
Oh, sure. People are working on it. They're cracking it. They're cracking the Da Vinci Code on this thing. Because sure, how great I can play God of War on my PC that is portable and in my hands. How great would it be to play all the Pokemon games legally if you own them and pull the ISOs from them with the compatible hardware?
Yeah.
Everybody knows if you're...
Please do not download games illegally.
Hey, hear me out. You wouldn't download a pizza.
You wouldn't download a car.
No way. I would never. But yeah, that's what I got about the Steam Deck. There's a lot more information left on the table here, but I think we're just about a month in, so I kind of want to let the dust settle a little bit more and see what...
It's tough to make these like initial jumps into, hey, is it worth buying? Hey,
they're still releasing updates on this thing, man. I mean, they literally a couple days ago they released an update so you could like type with 2 fingers on the keypad instead of like having one on the touchpad. So, they're working a lot of the bugs and kinks out. It's only been out for a little bit. I have great hopes. I had mighty interest in the Steam Deck. I PC gamed for 4 or 5 years straight in college when I didn't have any consoles. I did a lot of gaming on Steam. So, I mean, I would love for this to work perfectly.
For me, it might be the way I get into PC gaming, honestly. Because, $600 for basically a PC that can run the games like you said that I want. Pretty good. I mean, that's you're going to pay that in the PS5 anyways. You're going to pay that for a PlayStation 4 and some games anyways.
Yes, absolutely.
Especially, if you're out to go and start collecting NES games, you're going to spend that and the console and the game.
Right. And that's kind of thing is, I've had my Steam account for years and years and years. I don't use my computer that much, honestly. I mean, it's kind of scroll away, but having something like this, and I've been thinking about maybe getting a laptop or something like that. But having something like the Steam Deck is pretty much the dream. Having all these games just sitting around. Well, now I can go, on my lunch break or something, I can play some indie game that's been sitting around forever and try it out and see what it's like.
Yeah.
But yeah, Steam Deck. Watch this space. Much vested interest in the success of the Steam Deck, but Let's move on. I think we get a little.
I got some rapid fire news for
let's do some just quick zingers. Some of this is big news. Some of it maybe kind of isn't, but that's okay.
If you want any more information on this stuff, unfortunately, you were gonna go out and find that information.
We're not dropping the links on this one. We looked at this and we said, "You do the legwork."
Starting off here, people in Elden Ring, our favorite game in gaming news,
Yes,
are killing the Pope Turtle in the game. Big surprise, it's not good. As you kill him, all he does is weep in a high pitch and sad cry. And what do you get for killing this innocent giant turtle with the Pope hat? You get some turtle meat and his bell to purchase his stuff from, because he's a merchant in the game, so you can purchase his items. And you just get to kill your friend slowly, because he can't retract into a shell.
I think Undertale and many games like it kind of prove that if you can kill something, people will.
Yeah.
You put that option in, people will.
There's a big thing out right now, like a big PSA announcement in the Elden Ring community of, hey, don't kill the turtle.
Please, we're begging you. And we're taking an environmental stance here and saying, please don't kill the turtle in Elden Ring. We love him so much.
He's a good Pope.
He's a good Pope turtle.
Continuing on, Xbox has a sweepstakes to win a Sonic the Hedgehog 2 Xbox Series X with furry controllers. One is blue like Sonic, the other red like Knuckles.
Yeah, they're like fuzzy. They have like a faux fur on the outside.
It's not just short fur; it's like longish fur.
I've seen the photos. Holding it seems like it would be a task. Please don't. You're gonna sweat on the Don't. If whoever wins this, I'm begging you. Please don't play with these controls. Just put them on a shelf. They're gonna get yucky and matted, and you're gonna get your Cheeto dust.
I think even on the shelf they're gonna end up like that. It's such a bad product. Continuing on, 90,000 Call of Duty players were banned last week. Because there's no cheating in COD ever.
In other news, all middle schools saw a 300% increase in productivity and homework done.
New Nintendo Switch update lets you organize your games and apps into folders. Oh my god, it's almost like they think that adults might play the system.
That's the thing. I remember that came out. They're like, you can put your games in folders now. I'm like, how long has the Switch been out? It's been out for like 4 or 5 years, man. You think we just added the ability to have categories?
Let's see. Gran Turismo 7 continues to be review bombed on Metacritic. I can't imagine why.
I think they should really lean into this whole stupid money thing and start selling NFTs on Gran Turismo 7. I think that would, if they go so far in the wrong direction, maybe they can pull it back.
Yeah, eventually you keep turning left. You're gonna go right at some point.
Yeah, you're gonna hit on something eventually for sure.
Cyberpunk 2077 has another new patch coming out, patch 1.52. Maybe the game might work now.
That's what. Now I was going to say I have not kept a close eye. I find that modern open world games are just too bloated and way too long nowadays. So I haven't kept up. I remember when the No Man's Sky stuff came out, and they're like, "Hey, game's fixed now. We fixed it. Don't worry about it." Is Cyberpunk good now? Can we all play that, or are we still living in a world where it's like CD Projekt? I know CD Projekt. This is not on our list. CD Projekt Red announced that they're working on the next Witcher game.
Yep.
Okay, that is great news, CD Projekt Red. You're working on the next Witcher game. Are we done with Cyberpunk? Did we fix that? Or did we just kind of look at that and say, yeah, we tried. Anyways, on to the next.
That's the moment we walk away slowly.
Yeah, anyways, silently, they're like, anyways, we couldn't fix it. On to the next Witcher title.
Speaking of Witcher, though, we do have some Witcher news. Witcher 4 is going to be running on Unreal Engine 5.
Which is nuts. I have played there was a Matrix experience that you could download on PS5 that essentially, it's like, whoa, Matrix. But it's not really. It's just a couple cutscenes and then a big kind of open zone you can drive around in and that you can toggle. It's literally just hey, look at Unreal Engine 5. Isn't it cool? It's pretty intense. It looks really good. So Unreal Engine 5 looking amazing. Probably, my guess, probably not going to run well on your Steam Deck, though.
Ooh. Let's see here. Nintendo announces that it will be shutting down its mobile RPG, Dragalia Lost, after the main campaign concludes this July. Did you even know this was a thing?
Now, that was going to be my funny comment on this one, was I was like, I've never heard about this in my entire life. The sentence you uttered, you said the phrase, mobile RPG Dragalia Lost. Those words have never hit my brain at all. So
apparently has a pretty dedicated campaign following, and people are honestly a little sad about this. Moving onward, PS5 Pro is rumored to be launched 2024.
yeah, so the Switch 2's coming out this summer too, I bet. I don't know, all these console rumors, they all float around. I'll see it when I believe it, man. We haven't gotten, there's a bunch floating around by scalpers and stuff, but I was lucky to be given my PS5 as a gift. But there's an okay amount of PS5s around. I mean, not enough to stock store shelves.
Saying there's an okay amount, I feel, is even kind of a stretch. There is an amount floating around.
I just feel like they're like, oh, well, in 2 years they're going to announce the PS5 Pro. Honestly, just my opinion, doubtful. And this might age poorly. 2 years from now, we'll be like, Josh, what a moron. Everybody knew the PS5 Pro was coming out. I just feel like we haven't made
the PS5 a thing.
Yeah, we haven't made any PS5s, man. Yeah, we made 200,000 PS5s, and now it's like beyond that. It's like everybody's like, they're coming out with the new one. Dude, they're not coming out with the new one. They barely made the original, man.
Some sad news now. Zelda Breath of the Wild 2, which does not have an official name, is being delayed till spring of 2023. I want to point out, we're so close to this game, because it was meant to come out this year, and they don't have an official title yet.
The rumor that I've heard is that, and I see stuff like this, I really kind of don't believe this, but I've just heard this word on the street, is that they've delayed it so they didn't have to compete for Game of the Year with Elden Ring, which I got into a whole thing with a bunch of people about how I didn't think Elden Ring was going to be Game of the Year, and they all are like, yeah, I think it's going to be Game of the Year. And I'm like, yeah, it's probably going to be Game of the Year, but I kind of don't want it to be.
Yeah.
But I just don't think they would delay it for that. I just don't think they'd be like, oh, Elden Ring came out, we have to delay Breath of the Wild. I'm like, I'm sure it's not done. I'm sure they're pushing it back to work on it. I mean, Lego Star Wars took 2 years to make. I've been waiting for that. It got pushed back 4 times.
It's crazy how much people are like, oh, they're delaying it for this reason. And it's like, bro, their trailer barely had anything in it.
You want to know why they delayed Breath of the Wild 2? Because the game's not done yet. They gotta finish the game. But anyways, let's get to the real sad news, and this is the real heartbreaker for I think a lot of us out there.
God, it kind of chokes me up to even talk about this, but EA Sports PGA Tour is being delayed till spring 2023 as well. Moment of silence, please.
Is there any fairness in this unjust world? Can a man not have his EA Sports PGA Tour game release on time? What?
I don't know where to start with it. How?
What messed up world do we live in that we can't even have our golf? I was going to buy a bunch of khaki shorts for my golfer, and I was going to name him Tiger Woods 2 and have him hit the links. Now I can't do that. And I just want...
It's such a disappointment.
I just want EA to know, and I want Tiger Woods to know, even though they don't put his name on the games anymore, that I am, as a consumer, am disappointed. Anyways, let's talk about the PlayStation. They just announced a couple days ago. Their games as a service model.
Let's call it what it is. This is PlayStation Game Pass.
The thing is, it's just not. It kind of is, but it kind of isn't. They essentially combined PlayStation Now and PlayStation Plus. So PlayStation Plus is their current online subscription service, $60 a year. That gets you 2 free games a month. If you have a PS5, it gets you 3 free games a month because you get 1 PS5 game and 2 PS4 games. Beyond that, you get some little extras. Usually it's DLC for games, stuff like that they kind of drop. So PS Plus, you need it to play online with friends, so you can't play multiplayer online stuff without it. And then you get the free games. Yippee, we like that.
Now, this is supposed to come out in June for us.
Yes, June, potentially in America. But let's talk about, we talked about what PlayStation Plus is. Let's talk about what PlayStation Now is, because they're essentially just combining the two things. So PlayStation Now, I think, is like, do you know how much is like $100 a year?
I think it's like $100,
okay,
yeah.
So $100 a year, and you get, so it's kind of a games as a service thing. You pay $100 a year to have access to a backlog of games. PS4 games, PS3 games. I think there's PS2 stuff and maybe PS1. I'm not entirely sure.
I think it's pretty limited overall.
Yeah, there's not, you know, it'll have some of the bigger titles. Like I think the PS3 Ratchet and Clanks are on there, stuff like that. But so as far as I know, the PS2 stuff you can download to your system. Again, I don't know if there's PS1 stuff or not. But the PS3 stuff is streamed to your console. And that's because I forget exactly what it is. PS3 emulation is really hard. There is some kind of like graphics drive or something that the PS3 uses, and that is why it is so difficult to emulate PS3 games. And so, you know, the systems can't emulate it because it doesn't have the hardware that it needs. So that's why specifically the PS3 games have to be streamed to your console, which streaming it to your console makes it laggy. It's not going to run. You can have some latency. There's a lot of issues. I mean, just look at Google Stadia and kind of what happened with that whole concept.
Like, the big thing for me is, like, companies that have been trying to make streaming games such a staple, and every attempt has been such a failure.
Yeah, it's not done. We've not reached a world where streaming games is the thing yet.
Like, it's not like, you know, people give VR a bad rap, but like VR's come like a significant way. But even along that way, though, they had wins. They had wins here and there.
Yep.
Not so much with streaming.
Okay, so let's talk about this. It was called Project Spartacus was the code name for it before we... I don't know if it even has a name yet. If they're calling it like PlayStation something. It's like PlayStation Plus.
Yeah, PlayStation Plus is what it's overall going to be called.
Okay, so
they have a 3-tier subscription plan.
So you've got the PlayStation Plus Essential, which is just PlayStation Plus.
Yep, it's just your standard $59.99 per year.
Yep,
with access to the 2 free games and online play,
or 3 if you have a PS5. Yeah.
Yep.
So you get the free games, you get the online play. $60 gets you the exact same thing you already have.
Moving on, we have PlayStation Plus Extra, which is $9.99 per year, which adds roughly...
$99.
Oh, I'm sorry, $99.99 per year. I wish it was $10 a month.
I'd be paying $10 a year. I'd be paying that every year, man. I'd pay 10 years in advance.
This gains you access to around 400 PS4 and PS5 games to stream.
Can you stream it? I thought it was download.
This is a streaming service first and download optional.
Tisk tisk, PlayStation, and be playing with fire. Now that being said, it's a bunch of AAA stuff. So all the greatest hits from the PS4, PS5.
I watched the release information on this, and they said it's supposed to be a mix. You know, it's not just AAA stuff. There's going to be some indie stuff in there and everything.
Indie standouts for sure. Essentially, if it's a PS4 game or a PS5 game that probably is like decently received, or you've heard of it, it'll probably be on there. What was I going to say? Oh, I wanted to say, I think currently Game Pass has 1 to 200 games, Xbox Game Pass. So, I mean, 400's kind of a big deal. I mean, that's like a ton of... Even if you're just streaming them to your console.
Yeah, that's like a huge number.
That's a ton of games. Yeah, absolutely. That's the one where I've thought about it, where I'm like, 100... extra $40 a year. Get access to pretty much any PS4 game you would want other than, like, weirdo, hard-to-find stuff.
See, I'm not sold on that option.
Okay.
I really don't care for a lot of the newer stuff. Like, I love a lot of the PS4 games I've been playing. Lots of fun. I still find myself going back and playing my PlayStation 2 and PlayStation 3 a lot.
And that's what I wanted to say was, like, I'm tempted by the $100. I have so much to play anyways, right? Like, what am I going to do with 400 games on top of that? That's pretty tough. But now, then let's move on to the final tier.
The meat and potatoes of the PlayStation Plus. It is called PlayStation Plus Premium. This is $119.99 for games, including PS1, PS2, and PSP games. I am sold on the PSP games. I wish now, for me, $120 a year, little too steep. Even though you get access to everything prior to that as well, you're still getting the 2 games a month. You're still getting the, the third game if you have a PS5. You've got access online. You have the 400 PS4, PS5 games.
I'm very excited. Yeah, because PSP was not available. There was PS3 stuff and some PS2 stuff, but there was not a lot of PSP stuff readily available on PlayStation Now, so I think that's kind of a fun upgrade. So yeah, there's a lot of new things being added to this essentially upgraded PlayStation Now, since it being 100 to 120. You get everything in the previous tiers as well. So you get the online, you get the 3 free games.
Yep.
You get the 300 streaming titles.
Which, I mean, altogether here is 840 titles that 740 titles that they're giving you access to.
And depending, I mean, like, it really depends for me. I mean, if they put, let's say, PSP, PS2, PS1, they put some of these games on there. Let's say they put some of the Persona stuff on there. Okay, instead of buying a $200 copy of Persona 2 on PS1, I could spend $120, play Persona 2 on my PS5, and have another 739 games to play, right? There might be, depending on what games they add to this might be amazingly worth it, especially if they keep adding more, if they add more stuff from the backlog. Because just straight up, let's say I would almost certainly, if they put a bunch of the old Tony Hawk PS2 games on there, it would take a lot for me to not just spend $120 a year to play like American Wasteland on my PS5.
Oh my god,
that would blow my mind.
Get to see Underground 2 in like
180p. They look so bad. There's no way those graphics do not translate well to like a 4K system. But man, I'd have so much fun.
Now let's talk a little bit how this compares to the Xbox Game Pass. Now, Xbox Game Pass is a download first, then play platform. You basically can pick what you want. You'll download the game to your system, and then you can open it and play it. PlayStation Plus is a stream first, download optional platform, which is a unique take. They did this for the simple reason as they were like, Game Pass lets you take hold of the data. It takes up space on your hard drive.
I want to cut you off here just because I wanted to clear the record, because I thought I remember reading some of this stuff. So I'm looking at the extra right now, and that's the 400 PS4, PS5 titles. So the second tier, $100 a year. It says, adds a catalog of up to 400 of the most enjoyable PS4, PS5 games, including blockbuster hits from our PlayStation Studios catalog and third-party partners. Games in the PlayStation Plus Extra tier, which is $100 a year tier, are downloadable for play.
Oh. So
the PS4, PS5 games, the 400 titles, you can download those and play them. I think, and I'll double check, I'm going to read the next one too, but I'm pretty sure it's just the PS3 stuff that you have to stream, because like I had mentioned earlier, we cannot emulate PS3 games because there's that specific piece of hardware that they don't have. PlayStation Plus Premium, $120 a year, adds up to 340 additional games, including PS3 games available via cloud streaming. So the PS3 stuff, and I'm reading this from PlayStation's website, so I'm not just making this up. PS3 games available via cloud streaming. That is currently how it is on PlayStation Now. A catalog of beloved classic games available in both streaming and download options from the original PS1, PS2, and PSP generations.
There we go.
So there's going to be a mix of streaming and download on the older stuff. It also says, offers cloud streaming access for original PS1, 2, PSP, and PS4 games, offered in the extra and premium tiers in markets where PlayStation Now is currently available. Customers can stream games using PS4, PS5 consoles, and PC.
Oh.
So there you go. You can stream your PSP games on your PSP, which is kind of cool. And also, this was funny. They did add this, and we should mention this. You can play demos. They give you, so it says time-limited game trials will also be offered in this tier, so customers can try select games before they buy. So it's not really like it's a demo, but it's kind of like you can play this game for like an hour and then decide like They'll give you like an hour of free play to see if you like
I
it.
remember when stuff like that was just free.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes, sir.
Now, looking into if you have PlayStation now, that will transition into the PlayStation Plus platforms, and eventually it will become PlayStation Plus Essential, if I remember correctly here. You will still get the streaming options at no additional cost for the first rollout phase, and then after that, I believe you'll have to update your payment options. It will no longer be offered as a standalone service once that happens, though.
You'll never have PlayStation Now ever. People did not like PlayStation Now. Nobody went for it, so they've decided to execute it publicly. No more PlayStation Now. They said it's all PlayStation Plus. Don't worry. They pat you on the back and they say, don't worry, the scary PlayStation Now is gone. He's not really gone. He's there. They just named him something different.
So what do we know of the games that are going to be in the libraries? Well, the libraries are unconfirmed. We don't know. All we know is that it's going to be both first and third party games available.
I don't have the article pulled up anymore. They did mention a couple like God of War and Horizon, stuff like that. You're kind of like AAA PlayStation Studios titles.
Yeah, I was going to say PlayStation Studios games are almost like a guarantee that'll be in there.
They mentioned Spider-Man. Now, I did know this. So for the future, Sony will not be releasing their first party titles day one. Like with Xbox Game Pass, because that's kind of the big draw. I feel like Xbox Game Pass is, okay, instead of needing to spend $60 on Gears of War 5 or Halo Infinite, whatever comes out, instead, these Xbox AAA titles made by Microsoft Studios, you could just, if you have Game Pass, you just get those. But I don't remember, there was a developer or somebody who worked at Sony who was talking about, like, the games would be affected pretty hard. And studios would be affected pretty hard if they just essentially, quote, gave them away, essentially. And we were talking about this a little bit before we started, but I think that kind of the main draw of Sony is their exclusives. At least that's what I hear a lot of, is people are playing their PlayStations to have the exclusives that they want. So
that's what it is for me, is that I can get most of the games I'm really after on the PlayStation platforms.
Yep. And so if exclusives are the draw, putting them on this games as a service would kind of remove that aspect, because instead of, Sony can have both. For Microsoft, the big draw is like, boom, here you go. We don't need to make $60, because that was the proponent for the Xbox One, right? They said, yeah, Xbox One is going to be digital only. Everybody threw a fit. So I feel like Microsoft has always been kind of that, like, let's push more digital. So they're saying, like, we're going to give away our AAA titles for free with Game Pass. PlayStation is essentially like, well, why not have our cake and eat it too? You can pay me $120 to get all these sweet games, but if you want the new Horizon Forbidden West, you're still going to have to pay $60 for it.
Now, the reason I think that is I knew this was true at one point. I don't know if it's true anymore, but Xbox loses money by making Xboxes. Microsoft as a whole, it's not a good foundation for them to do, but they do it because they're such a good competitor to PlayStation and Nintendo. And that opens up a lot of doors for them. Whereas for Sony, the PlayStation is a profitable thing for them, and so they don't want to take away from that profit.
They make the monies on the PlayStation.
Yep.
When are we expecting this rollout? I know you said, I believe, June?
Yeah, June is the expected, but this is not a regular rollout. This is a phased rollout for this platform. What's going to happen is...
phase one...
Phase one is Japan.
Phase one is Japan. Iron Man, Thor, the first Avengers movie, phase one. Phase two...
is North America. And then phase three is Europe.
Spider-Man is phase three for sure. Maybe the first one wasn't, but...
But, technically, they say it's a 3-phase rollout, but after phase 3, there's technically phase 4. They don't want to admit that.
Phase 4, they're putting it on the moon.
Phase 4 is the rest of the world that they can't quite get access to.
Interesting. So, yeah, places where PlayStation Plus, PlayStation Now is available, you're going to hit those 3 big rollouts, and then the rest is kind of trying to fill in the gaps.
Yeah, they're trying to fill it in. They want it to be a worldwide service, but they're looking at some aspects where it might not be able to be.
If you live in Australia and New Zealand, you can still buy PlayStation Now down there. They're gonna the last bastion of freedom where you can buy PlayStation Now.
It's going to be an interesting move for them. I find it interesting that they're doing the U.S. before they're doing Europe. There's a lot more in Europe happening, but I think they're trying to start with like the big numbers.
Like stress test it, yeah.
Yeah, really try to get it going. But Japan, I think, is going to be our honest to God like first look into this. We're going to see if it is a smooth transition there or if it's a rough one. Because if it's rough for Japan, it's going to be rough for the rest of us.
I think they should get rid of all this and release the PlayStation TV 2. That's what I think. That's my hot take on Sony.
You know what? Scrap all this. Just make the Vita 2.
the Vita S5.
There you go.
Kind of rolls off the tongue a little bit when you think about it.
Are you excited for this? Is this something that you think you'd buy into?
Not even close. Here's the thing. I'm not going to buy this unless they do what Microsoft does, and they're like Microsoft all the time. I feel like is like, hey, you want Game Pass Ultimate? This month it's $1. Sure, okay, for $1 $1 a month, yeah, I'll get Game Pass Ultimate. But if I'm going to pay $15, $25 a month for PlayStation Plus Essential, PlayStation Plus Extra, Platinum, whatever, right? I'm not going to pay $25 a month. I'm not going to pay $120 a year. But if they say, hey, you can upgrade for like $2 for a month or 2 months, I would do that. If they aggressively price it, I think people go in for it. If I had a month of playing the PS2 games I wanted on my PS5, that would be sweet.
So for me, I cut all my subscription services for the consoles. I got rid of my Xbox Gold. I got rid of my PS Plus.
You're like a nomad, console nomad.
The only one I'm still subscribed to is
Can I guess?
The Switch.
I was gonna say 32X online service.
Yeah, the satellite service for the Genesis and everything. Yeah, that's exactly where I'm at.
I'm keeping that baby alive single-handedly.
And that's because it's $20 a year.
Yeah,
that's ridiculous.
And you get the free games on top of it too. It's a pretty good deal for the Switch.
Granted, they could put some more money into it, make it a little bit better. But like for $20, I'm not gonna criticize it that much.
And you could go a bit and above and get the expansion pack, which has your 64 games and your Genesis titles, etc., etc.
But I don't use my PlayStations to do multiplayer stuff.
Yep.
I did that early in my gaming career with the 360. Spent way too many hours in Call of Duty lobbies with that friendly banter that came along with them.
Of course, all the nice friendly banter,
the brotherly love,
no slurs or swear words said at all.
Absolutely not. Definitely not 10-year-olds using those either.
No, children saying things that no child should have the right to saying. Nothing like that would happen on
it's rated M. There is no kids on there.
Look, at the end of the day, we just need to say that the Xbox 360 was pretty much the wild, wild west of online gaming, and that there were no laws at that time. There was a pre-law environment. Was the Xbox 360 chat lobbies.
That's where I grew up in my online gaming. Was in the Wild Wild West. But now I use it mainly just for single player. Like in anything I want, I can just download if I need it. DLC and stuff.
Yep.
But I'm not drawn to something like this, and I definitely am most likely not their demographic. As a video game collector, I have all these consoles. Hooked up, ready to go.
You don't need $120 to play 340 PS2 games. You get the whole freaking selection on the wall. You can play whatever PS2. They're gonna be like, you can play Persona 2, and Alex is gonna be like, I already have Persona 2, so I'll just play.
I'm gonna play it on my original PlayStation 1, even like.
Oh yeah.
That being said, though, let's get into some fun stuff. Let's talk about.
Stranger of Paradise.
Yes.
Final Fantasy Origin. We've been waiting. I'm standing up. and I'm talking about it. I still don't own it. I wish one day.
I mean, we were just at the shop, and I saw that you guys have it on display for the PS4 and Xbox.
We got copies. We got Xbox copies, Series X and Xbox One.
It was so hard for me to walk out that store and not buy it.
we got PS4 copies. No PS5 copies. I told everyone if we got one PS5 copy, I would have spent full price $60. That baby would have came home.
I looked in the PS5 section thinking maybe someone traded it in already.
Every day I go to work is another day I spend double checking to see if anyone traded in Final Fantasy Origin. No, for real though. Let's talk about what we've been playing. I downloaded. There's a PlayStation has their spring sale, 75% off, and a bunch of great deals. I spent like $38 to get Diablo 2 Resurrected, and then Diablo 3 with the DLC, Necromancer, and all that stuff. I played Diablo 3 an okay amount in college. Definitely had my time with it. Not played Diablo 2. I know, kind of a classic staple of PC gaming.
I've never played a Diablo game.
You should get 3 and we'll play it because I don't know what I'm doing.
Do you want to know a secret?
Yeah.
I own 3.
You own perfect. Well, let's get together and play 3. I played 3 many years. It's one of those games. I played Terraria with my friends back in the day. They knew what the hell they were doing. I did not, so I was just kind of along for the ride. Diablo's kind of like that, where you just kind of got to play it and get a feel for what you're supposed to be doing. And then once you've played it maybe for like a couple hours, then you start looking up guides online to figure out what's just the optimal build for what you want to do. I'm building, there's going to be a very specific subset of people who know what I'm talking about. Diablo 2, I'm building Hammerdin, which is a blessed hammer paladin. Blessed hammer is a skill you use where you shoot little hammers out in a circle. And it's pretty much, through all the research I've done this morning when I bought it, it feels like that's kind of the build, is like if you just want to wreck shop, this is what you build.
You gotta go throw some hammers.
You build Hammerdin. And there's like, everybody's good. It's like, I mean, Diablo 2's a very old game, right? All the ancient texts from the past are still, it's just a remake of 2, right? They're still relevant. So I'm reading articles that are like freaking 15 years old where some dude's like, this is the armor you want, this is where you get the gear. All of that still holds up and is true. You still want the same armor that you wanted like 20 years ago when it came out. So I'm reading these old guides, I'm trying to look at Hammerdin. I like Diablo. I get the draw. It's kind of like you should probably be playing with other people. I think that's the main draw, is like, hey, please play this game with other people. You'll have a lot more fun than you just like moving your guy through a like bog and like mashing a button to shoot little hammers out, and teleporting away and mashing the button to shoot more hammers out. But it is fun. It's something like it was on sale. I was like less than $40 for 2 great games that are going to take up a ton of time. I'm fine with that. It's definitely something I can pick up and put down whenever I want. Beyond that, watch this space. Lego Star Wars Skywalker Saga next Tuesday. Dating this episode, April 5th, next Tuesday. I've got my deluxe edition pre-ordered. If you care, get the deluxe edition. You should go to price charting and look up the Wii U Lego Star Wars Force Awakens special edition with the minifig. We're talking thousands of dollars.
Because for a
Wii U game, just because it has the little Lego minifigure.
That's crazy.
I will say the one piece of news I have about that is good luck finding a Switch special edition. I think they've been sold out of like everywhere. I think that's kind of the most in-demand one is going to be the Switch one.
It's crazy how much talk there's been about this Lego game.
It's been delayed like multiple times. I've had a layaway set up to for a pre-order pretty much as soon as I could, which I think at this point we're talking like February of last year, I think.
Jeez.
Maybe longer than that. Maybe it was 2 years ago. I really don't remember. But essentially we're like, hey, it's coming out it's coming out this year. All right, you're like, sure, sounds good. They're like, spring. Okay, sure, it's coming out in spring. They're like, it's not coming out in spring anymore. We're shooting for the fall. You're like, sure, shooting for the fall. They're like, okay, we're not shooting for the fall anymore. We're shooting for spring of next year. And you're like, bro, you're killing me. But honestly, if you have interest, they have leaked gameplay all over YouTube right now for about a week or so. Go watch it.
I've seen some of it. It looks good.
It looks good. They revamped it. It looks completely different than any other Lego game. It's changed the face of Lego games forever. It looks amazing. Their boss fights, it's all fully voice acted. I am blown away.
I've been a little Legoed out. They were releasing Lego game after Lego game after Lego game. And then I saw this, and I was like, I could get back up on the horse. I could do this again.
I know I mentioned earlier that how open world games are bloated, filled with so much content. There's 1,300 damn Kyber bricks in this game. Damn straight if I'm not going to collect every single one of those things. I don't care if it takes me freaking 3 years. I'm going to 100% this game. I've seen a bunch of memes going around. There's a slug guy. His name is Cloud. He's in I think he's in episode 9. Everybody's doing live slug reactions. Kind of a big meme. You can play as this man, Cloud. He's only in the movie for a little bit. Kind of a big meme going around. They say all the lines you want them to say. Anakin says, fighting Count Dooku, says, I'm twice as strong since we last fought. And Christopher Lee says, twice the power, double the fall. They say all the things you want them to say.
That's cool. I like that.
Got the standard Lego flair, goofiness, cutscenes.
Which is what made the original Lego Star Wars game so great.
It makes it stand out, absolutely. It's not just like, here's the story, the end. They put a little goofy twist on it. So,
looking into what I've been playing some interesting and very diverse games.
Okay.
The first game I picked up was Omega Quintet on the PS4. Basically, it's your vanillaware RPG from Japan.
Yippee!
With a little bit of a twist. They got something called the Blair, which is honestly basically a blight, where monsters come out of nothingness and they are defending themselves and their cities from being destroyed.
Sounds pretty typical JRPG fare.
Kind of typical. Where the fun, interesting part comes in is that in order to defeat these monsters, they have idol girls that come out and sing them to defeat.
Interesting.
Now, I've stated before, and I'll state again, I am a weeb to the core. I love my anime. I love Japan. Oh my god, have I not just cringed at every other thing in this game. It is a true weeb down to the core, and you're like, oh, that hurts to even watch.
Yep.
Lots of little micromanaging. You can update their moves that they have. You can update their costumes. You can have romance option with, I think there's 5 or 6 girls, and you're their manager. So you're defeating these demons and managing an idol group.
So you're their manager, and you're getting involved in relationships with these ladies, and you're helping them fight demons. And so you said they're idols. Are there there are scenes where they're singing, or do they use their music to defeat enemies?
So it's this weird combination where they sing and fight at the same time. And so there's this background music playing, but when they go to the cutscenes, or if you want to call them cutscenes,
right,
they're singing and they're talking and all this, and it's a jumbled mess.
So I like this concept. I like this concept a lot. Make it branded Hatsune Miku. I'm there all the way. Just random. We made up idols for this game. I sleep. Hatsune Miku, Luca, whole Vocaloid crew. I'm there. I'd play an RPG where I beat everybody up as Hatsune Miku.
The other game I've been playing on the total opposite end is
Call of Duty World War II.
Is Need for Speed Shift on the PS3.
Well, Need for Speed. Take the F out, and it's a funny word.
Oh, don't do it to me. Don't. I'm not gonna laugh at that.
I think it's.
I'm trying to hold back.
Do you like the game, or would you call it the word that I'm implying it would be?
So the weird part is that Need for Speed is obviously an arcade series racing game,
Right?
and this is trying to be a arcade series racing game that is a sim? Question mark?
Interesting. So instead of like your typical arcade racer, in this one, a bunch of idol girls come out of the cars, and you manage them and fall in love with them and get to know them on a personal level.
More like you have this obnoxious manager over you, and he's like, "Hey, get in the car, bub, go race."
Oh, I don't like that. See, that's the test drive games are kind of like that, where it's like you're like part of a team, and that like these people like bossing you around. They're like, all right, kid. I put you in the lawnmower race down at the track.
Yeah.
And you're like, bro, can I just drive the car, please?
That's kind of where I'm at. But like, the problem is that the cars feel like they're floating in air,
just like a normal car does.
Yeah, it's totally how a real car feels. There are times where I'm like, okay, I have been driving, because you get a main car that you take through races, but then they have these things called manufacturer races, where you get a car from a manufacturer and you race all the same car and try to win.
Sure.
I went from like a 1980s car to like a 2005 BMW.
Sure.
And it feels okay initially, but the moment I took my first turn, the track went to the left and I kept going straight.
Oh no.
And like every sense I have of a sim racer just fails me in this, because it's not a sim racer, it's an arcade racer.
Yep.
And it's such a tough thing to go from one car to the next, because like by the time you get used to how that car feels, the next car you have to use is like a complete 180. It's totally different.
Sure, they're switching.
You have to relearn the car and then relearn the tracks.
Would you say there's a shift?
I would say there's a shift.
Would you say there's a shift from the previous Need for Speed games and to this one that is not very good? The shift, this game shifts down into a not very good video game, is what it sounds like.
You know what the old saying is: drop a gear and disappear.
Oh, well, exactly, and that's that. Everybody who played Need for Speed Shift says the same thing. I wish this game would drop a gear and disappear.
But I've been playing it for a little over 5 hours, and I feel like I'm pretty much halfway through, because there's four tiers you can get to, and I'm on tier 3. And each tier you go up, gets harder and harder. I have lots of experience in racing games. I enjoy them quite thoroughly. But like, there's bad racing games that you love, and then there's bad racing games that you just wish you don't.
Do you have rivals in this game, or is it like
nope, no
not
rivals?
Even close. Just your manager telling you to go race again.
Yeah, he is your rival there, because he won't shut up.
Capitalism is your rival. I wish my boss would shut up. Stop telling me to drive cars.
I had some other friends over, and they were watching me play it because they were really interested. And like I was complaining about how the game wants to be so real it's fake.
Yep.
Because they have like a Toyota 2000 GT,
okay,
which is like from the 60s or 70s, and they're like, that car's $18,000, and I'm like, bro, that sold at auction for 1.25 mil.
That's pretty good.
Forza has a better set standard for car pricing than they do in the Horizon series. Like, yep. Oh my gosh.
I did want to mention we were going to talk about this. It got overlooked because we didn't organize our notes very well. We were going to talk about the new Ghostbusters game.
That's right. Yeah, the Ghostbusters.
They dropped a trailer for. Let's, Jamie, can we pull this up on the computer here? The new Ghostbusters.
I bet we can.
All right. Ghostbusters Spirits Unleashed. It is a multiplayer Ghostbusters game. In this game, you play Ghostbuster. And you play, the ghosts come out, and you got to play the Ghostbusters. What if in this game, hear me out, what if in this game you played the Ghostbusters? So the whole concept is like, you're a new hire at the Ghostbusters Busting Academy. And did they get everyone from the movies? They got Mr. Ray Stantz Oh my, we're trying to pull it up. They got Mr. Ray Stantz, the wonderful Dan Aykroyd, who runs Ray's Occult Books, and then they got Winston, who owns the Ghostbusters firehouse. But yeah, so they do have Winston, and they do have Ray in the movie, the two of the original Ghostbusters. I know there are some celebrity voice actors, Rahul Kohli.
So like we're looking at some image shots that they have, and it looks pretty interesting.
Okay,
from what we can see.
So I've been goofing around and not paying attention, but the gameplay, and this is I went and watched the new movie, and I essentially watched the movie the entire time, being like, man, wouldn't this make such an awesome VR video game?
I want to see it, so I haven't watched it.
This is kind of what I wanted from a Ghostbusters video game, because I think a VR Ghostbusters game would be amazing, especially with the success of stuff like Phasmophobia, right?
Yep.
Where it's like, here you go, this game is about hunting ghosts. I think a Ghostbusters VR game would do amazing. So this is kind of what I wanted. So it is a multiplayer Ghostbusters game where you and your three buddies are going to work together. I believe it's like third person camera angle. You're busting ghosts. You've got the proton packs. You've got the ghost traps. You got to lure ghosts. Ghosts are going to come attack you. And then, not just that, there's a PvP mode where one of you becomes a ghost. And you become a ghost to like haunt your friends, and the friends have to try and capture you.
So looking at some of the footage here, it looks like it's going to be a mix between third person and first person. It looks like if you're a ghost, you're in third person, but if you're a ghostbuster, you're going to be in first person.
Yeah. And like I said, I know Greg, Game Over Greggy from kind of Funny Games, is going to be one of the voices. I know, like I said, Rahul Kohli is going to be one of the voices. So they do have kind of a celebrity cast on, which is very exciting. This is something I might not pick up, but if I had a bunch of friends, if I have friends who are like, hey, I'm going to pick up that new Ghostbusters game, I'd probably play with them.
So the thing for me when it comes to these ones, because it reminds me a lot of, I believe it was the Jason game, Friday the 13th game. There we go.
Yeah, it does kind of have that asymmetric multiplayer aspect.
Where it's that 4-on-1
Yep.
gameplay.
Yep.
The problem for me is like they're making these games now where it's online only play.
Yeah.
It's like, come on, like give me, a 4 split screen and three of us are a Ghostbuster and one of us is a ghost type of thing, or have an AI ghost or whatever and let the 4 of us play.
Yep.
If it allows for something like that, I'd be more interested in picking this up. But like the fact that it's most likely going to be online play, it kind of steers me away from it.
It's kind of interesting that you mentioned that, because it's being developed by Ilphonic. Ilphonic did Predator Hunting Grounds, which is another kind of like asymmetric multiplayer, Marines versus Predator kind of game, which I saw a decent amount of coverage on. I'm not a multiplayer person, but I enjoy watching people play that kind of stuff. Predator was interesting. I feel like they kind of nailed the Predator, because he's got the whole invisibility and cloaking and all that fun stuff. And so if they keep releasing like a decent multiplayer asymmetric games, I'm fine with that. Licensed properties. I want, if anyone from we say this every episode as if like the developers and like CEOs of every executive studio are listening to our small little podcast here. Anyone from Ghost Core is listening. Seriously, VR Ghostbusters game. It's going to be big.
That'd be so cool.
It is. I just like watching the movie. I sat there the whole time being like, wouldn't it be so cool to just have, you had the proton pack in your hands and you're shooting the freaking beam. And like, imagine there was some kind of like, in the movies, it looks hard to wield, right? It's not like point and shoot. It's like the thing moves around,
Yep.
So imagine you had some kind of thing where like you shoot, it's like shoot at the thing and you shoot at it and then the beam just kind of wildly moves and you have to like move with it to try and like rein it in. There's a lot, that's what I want.
Don't cross streams.
Don't cross the streams. It'll blow your freaking particles and your atoms will be blown to bits. I just really think there is a lot on the table for a Ghostbusters VR game.
I agree with that full-heartedly. The more you talk about it, the more I'm like, I would get into that quite a lot.
That's if I could have enough money to make one video game, that's what I would want, is a very, very high quality Ghostbusters VR game. It doesn't have to have Bill Murray. It doesn't have to have Dan Aykroyd.
Oh, but wouldn't it be sweet?
It would be sweet. It would be sweet. And it is kind of exciting to have them in this game. Dan Aykroyd's reprising his role, and Winston, he's there. He's running the firehouse, and it's nice. It's
anything
nice to
Ghostbusters, I'm honestly kind of excited about.
It's...
I kind of dogged on it there, but like I'm excited to see what this does. I want to at least watch other people play it if I don't get it.
That's where I'm at. That's where I'm at. Even if I don't play it, I hope the game is fun, and I hope other people have fun with it.
Yep.
So I would like to see more Ghostbusters stuff stick around. But
I think we're gonna end off there on some Ghostbusters funness.
To quote the movie, Alex, are you a god?
No.
When someone asks you if you're a god, you say yes. Boom.
Oh.
Straight from the movie. Delivered with no emotion. Exactly how the lines were meant to be delivered. We're at a loss. We're at a loss for we really dropped the ball in the ending here. We got so embroiled in all the Ghostbusters stuff. We got lost in the sauce.
I was trying to think of like how to end off here, and my mind was just like, go to Ghostbusters, man. There's got to be something fun there.
Gozer the Gozerian, something about the painting stole a baby that one time. We were all, you all know.
Marshmallow Man comes out.
Exactly. Stay
around the Chrysler
Marshmallow
Tower.
Man is there. It's a whole thing. No, but like usual, we'll drop all the appropriate links down below. Articles we're reading. I'm going to drop that PlayStation blog post about the Game Pass, PlayStation Now Plus stuff they're doing.
All the information you need to know. We're going to link some links to the Steam Deck as well. Make sure you have all of your knowledge for in case you guys are interested in purchasing that. Well, this has been the Quick Save Podcast. Thank you for listening with us. I'm Alex.
I'm the Gozerian. I don't know why I'm still trying to make this Ghostbusters thing. I'm Josh. This has been Quick Save. Good night.
Good night.